You're on the lookout for some Cory Cat. So you did your research like a good fish keeper, right? All you did was Google some stuff and watch some videos. In my opinion, that's good enough research personally. You know what they eat, you know their temperature, you know the tank mates they can go with, you know what size tank they could go in. But there's always one conversation that I end up having with first-time Cory Cat buyers. How many Cory Cats they should get and what types should they be? All right, let's talk about it. There's a bunch of different types of Cory Cats out there. There's some that are pygmies. There's some that grow, you know, a decent size in my opinion. But for the most part, most people get Cory Catfish when they have a peaceful, non-aggressive community aquarium. Tetras, angels, platies, those type of things, right? And when you have those type of fish, a lot of times the tanks really aren't that humongous. So tank space is a very important part of your decision-making process, as it should be. Here's the cool thing about Cory Cats. Cory Cats usually take up real estate in the aquarium that doesn't really matter to most other fish. Down at the bottom. A lot of other fish in your aquarium swim at the middle or at the top, or if in case of like plecos and algae eaters and stuff like that, up against the sides of the tank or on decorations. Cory Cats, down at the bottom, they got their own living space, so you don't really have to worry about them getting other people's way. But still, you have to worry about tank space. Luckily, Cory Cats love living in groups, tight groups actually, shoals, schools, I would say schools. But you are right to worry about tank size nevertheless. This is kind of off the subject. It's on the subject, but it's off the subject. People want to know Okay, I just went into saying, you know, Cory Cats love living in tight groups, shoals, schools, whatever you want to call them. But let me just get this one thing out of the way. It's okay to have one Cory Cat. And the reason why I'm saying this is because everybody wants to know if you can put a Cory Cat with a betta fish. And usually a betta fish is, you know, in a small bowl. So you want something to live in at the... It's okay to have just one. Don't worry about it. They're not going to be lonely. But do they like it better in a group? Yes. Are they going to be fine just one? Yes. But to get their true personalities to come out, which is in a group, you know, swimming like, you know, like in a group like that, you have to have more than one. I've had 3 before where they kind of spread out. They didn't really do that. It isn't until you start getting about 6 of them that they really start doing that herd movement thing. So don't be worried about putting a whole bunch together. So in my personal opinion, 6 is the magic number to get the full effect of what a Cory Cat should be like. I've heard it said that Cory Cats are Rachel. I'm not trying to say the whole word where, you know, this group of people don't like this group of people because this group of people ain't the same type of that group of people. So I'm going to say Rachel. You know what I mean? Basically, people say that in order for you to get the whole herd mentality, you have to have the same type of Cory Cat for this to happen. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to say that's 100% true. I have currently Cory Cats in a 20 long. I have different types. I have long fin albinos. I got green lasers. I got a stir-by. I got some pandas. They all hang together. Now, the aquarium is not big enough for them to actually travel around in a group, but they do frolic. Huh? Frolic? You like that word? I'm gonna try a new word every day that I'm not used to saying, and today it's frolic. But they do frolic together often without any issues. It didn't happen right away. I'll be honest to say that. But I don't have an issue with them kind of staying apart, segregating themselves. They live fine as a group by themselves. I don't know if they would live tight like that in a large aquarium where they had the opportunity to segregate themselves. But in a 20 long, a group of 1, 2, 3, there's like 6 or 7 in there. They don't mind being up against each other, eating together, moving around together. So I'm not gonna necessarily say they Rachel towards, you know, other types of Corys, and they don't live well with other types of Corys. And the reason why I bring this up is because when you go to the LFS and you only have a specific amount of room for a specific amount of number of Cory cats to put in your aquarium, there's so many different types that you kind of want a variety to go. I want one of those, I want one of those, I want one of those. And sometimes I've heard people say, oh, you have to get all the same type. I'm not gonna co-sign on that. If you had a big aquarium, I don't know, you know, somebody in the comments, if you have a big aquarium with different types of Cory cats, do they separate according to species? Put it in the comments. I don't know, I've never had that. But if you have a small aquarium, when I say small, I'm talking about 55s and below, let me know if Cory cats will segregate themselves according to species. While we're on the subject of different species living together, the subject might come up, will they, you know, hybridize? Will they breed? Some might breed more with specific groups a little bit more easily because they're more closely related. There's no guarantees, but I don't know enough, to be honest with you, to say which ones go with which. There's so many different types. I would imagine it's a crapshoot. There's no telling. There's no, in my opinion, there's no telling. But I'm sure there's somebody out there saying you can or cannot do this, that, or whatever. To which I say, if you say so. I don't know everything. I'm not an expert in Cory catology. So just keep in mind, when you go into the pet store and you're looking for Cory cats to put in your aquarium, if you see something you like, get it. They can be kind of pricey, like around $10 a piece. You're like, damn, that's $60 if I get six of them. You don't have to get them all at once. You don't have to get them all at once. You can get 2 now, 2 later. That they don't, you know, they will just go ahead and integrate just fine over time. You don't have to get them all at once. There you go. That's my take on Cory cats. If you enjoyed this content, here's a couple of other videos that you might be interested. If you want to go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, I really would appreciate it. And I thank you in advance. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.